I am sure you're wondering, what is that? Can a man be financially abused? I'm so glad that we have experts in the place. What is financial abuse? How can we recognize financially abused men? What are the patterns of financially abused man? Is a man more likely to be abused in his finances than a woman? Ladies, we love you. Is it always a woman who affects a man's finances, or is it just him? Personal responsibility. How can a man overcome financial abuse, employed, unemployed, debt, etc., especially in such a time as this, as we face the onslaught of COVID-19 pandemic? Unprecedented, but here we are as men. Courtney?
Yes, and Kevin, we have two special men with us this evening. They are Corey Fid, he's a financial advisor at Sagicor Limited. Good afternoon, sir. And we also have with us Enrica. I hope I have that pronounced correctly. Grove,
Yes.
financial literacy speaker. He needs to tell us what a financial literacy speaker is as well. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good
Happy to
afternoon.
have
Good
you with us.
afternoon.
How
Pleasure,
are you
pleasure,
both
pleasure to
doing?
be
You
on.
ready? You prepared?
Yeah,
Man,
man.
I'm
Most
ready.
definitely,
Ready,
man.
set,
Looking forward to the
go.
conversation.
We're ready for you.
Well, man, a man from Warren Point to Negril, you have the privilege of having conversation, ask questions. You can call in, of course. Corey Fid, Enrica, Blake Grove in the place, and they are willing to answer all your questions and process your comments as well. We are so excited about today's program because finance is very important to us, you know. How we manage it. Are we good stewards? Are we creating generational wealth? Or are we just living payday to payday and another month for bankruptcy? Well, so man, oh man, we want to hear from you. Send your feedback or questions on our Facebook page at Love 101 FM, where we're live. Yes, we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Leave your comments via our WhatsApp line 876-997-3125. That's 876-997-3125, or give us a call on our studio lines, and you can get us at 876-968-8327. That's 876-968-8327. Ladies, thank you so much for your support, your prayers, and your encouragement. Remember, you can participate in the program by writing us a message via our WhatsApp or comment on our Facebook page. But please remember not to call in or leave any voice notes. Allow that safe space for the man them. All right? Know you understand, respect, love that as well.
And we love the women very much, yes. Especially us
Yes.
married men. We love especially our wives. But listen up carefully. Here's the question. So does your partner restrict you from using your own money? You hear that question again. Does your partner restrict you from using your own money? Does your partner open credit cards in your name and you have no knowledge about it? Man and man. Does your partner request that you should meet all the financial obligations? Well, it sounds like you are being financially abused, and we want you to understand what that is and how to overcome it. And you can do so by staying with us on the other side of this break, here inside the mailbox. We're coming back because you need to understand what financial abuse is and what is a financially abused man. We come right back after this break.
I am a man, yes. Strong man. Only Flow gives you everything you want in every plan. Unlimited local calls and texts, plus unlimited data for the apps you really want, like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and WhatsApp. No other network comes close. Flow has plans from 2 to 30 days, and every plan has everything you want. Dial *129 *6 numbers and to activate your 7-day plan with everything you want for only $675. Conditions apply.
Life comes at you fast and it can hit hard. Apply for the Credit Union Prepaid MasterCard from CNWJ with chip and PIN protection. Need a card with a personal line of credit for emergencies? We have that. Need a card you can use to shop online for that must-have item? We have that. The community and workers of Jamaica Prepaid MasterCard. All the convenience of a MasterCard. Discover the benefits of belonging.
Jamaica and its workforce are advancing quickly. Life-changing opportunities are arising. You need training and support. We are the Renewed Heart NSTA Trust, committed to providing new and emerging skills training and opportunities. Come to Heart. We'll help you claim your place in the workforce of the future.
I am a man, man. I am a man, I am a man, I am a man. Yes, strong man, integrity man.
Welcome back to the mailbox on Love 101 FM. I'm Kevin Bailey. Courtney Morrison is right here inside the mailbox, and we'll be discussing the financially abused man with two financial advisors, Corey Fid, and we have Enrica Blagrove. So, come in the program. This is our favorite folder right now, and we want their perspective as well. But you know, we have a shout out, Courtney, we have a shout out the man them.
All the time. Big up to all of the men then. Big up to all the men in the place. So we want to shout out to you and give you, trust me, men, we just need the encouragement and the upliftment. So here we go. After 3, 2, 3, Kevin. Man down! Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man in the place.
Hey, Kev.
Yep.
You know, we have a new feature. We just started it last week, fresh out of the block. A segment we call Draft. And guess what? I came up with a little name for that acronym, you know. My producers don't even know. Direct responses are for the featured team. Can you imagine? Direct responses are for the featured team. The draft.
You're bright, man. You're bright.
Sometimes, you know, intuition. So where we put in there, open the way to our main segment where we will focus on the financial abuse, man. So here are the questions, gentlemen. Some direct responses we wanted these. What really is financial abuse? And can finances be abused? Can finances be abused? Wanted to bear this in mind. Can bad money management be associated with financial abuse? The sugar daddy culture, would you define that as a form of financial abuse, or does it encourage financial abuse? Do you think COVID has increased the number of finance abusers? So what really is financial abuse, and can finance really be bad money management? So I want to start with Dr. Corey Fid. You say I'm giving him a title. Direct responses. We want them to be straight, spontaneous, professional, but direct responses to the question. What is financial abuse? Can finances be abused?
Right. So in looking at financial abuse, I want to take it from 3 different angles. So in terms of the man and financial abuse, the man himself can abuse his own finances. So that's the poor money management. Your finances can be abused by someone else, which is probably the one that we're going to discuss a lot. And the third one, you having the financial power can now abuse that financial power, right? So if we're looking at it from those 3 angles, we have 3 ways that we can now tackle the problem. So how can a man abuse his own finances? Very common. Poor money management, poor financial literacy skills. Those kind of things are the things that allow you to now mismanage your funds. But the one that I think is on the top of everybody's mind is, how can someone else abuse your finances? Now, that is where the financial abuse that we want to talk about kind of stems. When someone else is using your financial power, your financial status for their gain. And when we tie that to relationships, we see what's kind of on everybody's mind is that the male having the financial power is being abused by the female because his finances are probably spent by her, right? But this can also go both ways, you know. It really depends on who is carrying the financial power. So who's holding the purse, right? And of course, the last one, as I say, this also ties to your sugar daddy issue where having the financial power, having the power of the purse, allows you now to take advantage of someone else because you have that power.
Mm.
Wow.
Wow.
Mm.
Having the
Interesting,
power
Jeff.
of the purse. Yes, having the power of the purse.
Uh,
Um, Brother Enrico, what's your position on this? All of these questions we're asking, can the man be financially abused? And your perspective on the sugar daddy culture, would you define that as a form of financial abuse? And do you think that COVID has increased the number of finance abusers as we get a lot of pressure? Speak to our audience.
all right. Okay. So yes, finances can be abused, and as Corey mentioned a while ago, so clearly that men, their finances can also be abused by women. And then you see the thing about it is that a lot of persons don't understand really where or how women would abuse a man's finances, because it is how we are socialized. It is innate for men, to try to be the breadwinner, try to provide. If the woman asks for something, they provide. They're not reluctant to provide. And then abusing the man's finances no is, for example, getting the woman, or getting the man to always be buying stuff for you, right? The woman controlling the finances. The man go out and work, come in with the money, and everything. The woman just deal with it. The woman spend, the woman save, the woman do all of that out of what the man brings in, and then the man now only just keep a portion of it for himself to, I guess, last him for the next pay period. Another way of how men are financially abused. For example, misusing of funds. When women misuse funds, so for example, you give the woman the money to take to provide for the cover the house expenses, go to the market, supermarket, all of that, and then now, instead of doing what should be done, the money is used to do something else. For example, instead of going grocery shopping, the woman go do her nails and do her hair and all of that. And then when all of that is done, now, how are you going to eat? How are you going to live until money come again? And you see, a lot of these things, a lot of persons don't see them as financial abuse. A lot of persons see them as regular, everyday happening in relationship when a man is working and a man is providing. And then another thing too, that a lot of persons don't say or just overlook, but it is actual financial abuse, is when, for example, you and your partner, you guys have an argument, and one partner is disgruntled, and then your wife or your girlfriend, destroys your property and then
Mhm.
leaves. It's oftentimes we see that on social media where the woman gets upset and the woman takes a golf club to the windshield of the man's car. And then at the end of the day, the man is the one that has to replace that. That is a form of financial abuse as well. And then the sugar daddy, no, no, that says it in itself. It is because having a sugar daddy, all the intention of the woman is to see somebody rich and then just get the man to spend on the spend on her. And then when that's their intention, right? They go into the relationship with that intention, not for as we like to call it, equality and equity. Not for that, but for what they can get out of the relationship financially. When they see an older man, and an older man is well off, and they target these men, and then sometimes we as men, we are to be blamed as well, because we know that that's what's happening, and we still indulge, we still accommodate it. But that is also a form of financial abuse in itself. And then when we talk about COVID, we are indeed in unprecedented times, and a lot of persons are now unemployed. A lot of persons are redundant. A lot of persons are working half the amount of time that they normally work, so their pay is cut in half. And then now you're trying to make ends meet. You're used to a standard of living, and then COVID just come now and disrupt that standard of living. You're unemployed now, so you're going to try to see, okay, how can I continue to live how I normally live? Can I link? Can I go talk to Enrique and say, okay, Enrique is still working. Enrique is still carrying in his regular salary on a monthly basis. Can I get a portion of that salary, right? Can I, can I get a portion of that salary to make up or cover the shortfalls where COVID has impacted their way of living, their standard of living. So all of these factors are contributing factors to financially abused men and overall the broad topic itself of financial abuse, because both men and women can be or are victims of financial abuse.
Kevin, we're hearing some interesting perspective here. Thank you, Enrica Blagrove and Corey Fid. The power of the purse, Kevin.
Yes.
The power of the
Very.
purse. He who holds the money. That almost sounds like Judas. The power of the purse. as
Hey,
well
Courtney.
as
Arthur Henry or brethren asking, what about financial gaslighting? And so, gentlemen, your perspective, before we move, he's asking, what about financial gaslighting, Corey? Any perspective on that? Is it that women can make a man feel psychologically anxious and doubt himself, in a state of confusion because of the pressuring, whether verbally she's pressuring him, almost make him feel like he's not in control of stuff and disoriented. What's your perspective on that?
Oh, well, I'm not sure what is meant by financial gaslighting so much. Probably you can help me with that so I can probably give a better answer.
Yeah, so the term gaslighting normally is for when another person use psychological strategies to make the other partner start to question themselves, and their sense of reality. They now become anxious, confused, disoriented, as if they now have to second guess themselves. And I'm thinking that probably Arthur is asking, can women have that power to make their husbands, their boyfriend, second guess themselves, almost disoriented, anxious, wondering if they're in the right mind based on psychological strategies? What's your take?
This brings me to a discussion that I had some time ago as it relates to that, because what happens is that a lot of the times in our society, a man is measured by his ability to provide. Now that boils back down to the finances. Now, when you're put under pressure by your partner to provide more, or that you're not providing enough, or giving you subtle hints that, well, Mary's husband is providing this, why aren't you able to do this? That is now forcing that husband or that partner to now go out there and try to get more. He's now pressured to increase his financial intake. So yeah, for sure, women do have that power over men. Yes.
Thank you, Corey. Enrica, your perspective on that.
Yeah, man, my perspective on that, it is so true, and just to add to what Corey said a while ago, a lot of the times, because of how, again, men are socialized, or how our society dictates the role of a man in a household. The man is supposed to be breadwinner, the man is supposed to provide. Now, if it is that the man cannot make ends meet, then that is where the pressure comes on. That is where the woman starts to say, okay, what can we do to increase his earning, increase what he's bringing in, also, as Corey said a while ago, going back to what Corey said a while ago, our society and so we are socialized, right? For example, women when all right, so let me give you an example. Say the woman wants to get her hair or nails or some little upkeep. She wants to do some stuff, but this one the man is not able to provide, because maybe of some miscellaneous expenses that come in. And then, that's where some of the pressure comes on, because the woman is, might get a bit disgruntled. The woman might start and then it go, it kind of attacks the man's ego as well, because a man not being able to meet, or meet the demands of the household, not being able to provide, that affects him psychologically, because if he's not able to, okay, his wife or girlfriend wants to go out, if his wife or girlfriend needs to do this or needs to do that, and he cannot do that, he cannot afford to do that, it affects him psychologically. So yeah, I think it is, trust me, it is something, it is possible.
Hey Kevin, I want to
Yes.
ask our guest a question based on a situation that I've heard of before. So the bills are divided as to who pays what, right? So the husband probably would be paying the light and the water, while somebody be paying the rent. Would this be a form of financial abuse where, in your opinion, where let's say the husband at this point is unable to meet his obligations, and the wife says, okay, you can borrow the money from me, but you need to pay me back. How does that work? I would love to hear an opinion on that. Am I
All
getting
right.
myself in trouble?
Well, the reality is, relationships are partnerships.
Yeah.
So the splitting of the utilities or the splitting of the expenses is what I would consider normal. Right?
Yeah.
In the event that one partner is unable, for whichever reason, to meet the expenses, that's an agreement that has to happen within the relationship. Now, if the partner suggests that it's no a loan, well, that's what it is, a loan. But there must be some form of agreement to say, well, what if I paid all previous expenses and I didn't consider it a loan? You see, that so it boils down to conversation between the partners, and it's a partnership. So the relationship, those rules or those things within the relationship must be clearly outlined, because finances is one of the main reasons why relationships fail.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Corey.
much,
Thank you.
Corey.
Any perspective, Enrico? Any perspective on this before we wrap up this draft and move into our favorite folder? What's your take on that?
Well, all right. In any relationship, as they said, one hand can't clap, right? That's a common terminology. One hand can't clap. So you're in a relationship, and the utilities, the bills split in two. So the man cover one portion and the woman cover another portion. And the man is unable to meet his portion this month. And the woman is supposed to be able to, okay, catch him up where him fall short, right? And then now where it goes to a loan, right? If it is, communication is also key in a relationship. So if it is okay, you outline that strictly, say, okay, this is a loan because maybe you have you need the money to do something else or whatever, and you already put it down and it's a loan, then it's a loan. But at the end of the day, if it is that one party falls short and another party can assist, help that party up, to cover those expenses. Because at the end of the day, both parties are in the relationship, they're living in the house, the bills have to get covered. So whichever party covers it, even though there's a separation where one party covers a portion and the other party covers a portion. But if at the end of the day, one party cannot cover the portion and then the other party cannot catch up the where that party falls short, then what's going to happen? The electricity will get turned off, or the Wi-Fi go gone, and then both parties will be, experiencing discomfort. So, yeah.
Aye. Interesting comments here, Courtney, and listeners. You can participate as well. But we have a favorite folder section. We're gonna go straight into that, and then we come into the meat of the matter. And this is the section where there's neither right nor wrong answer. What we call favorite folder. Men who ask women for money. Your perspective on this. Men who ask women for money. Corey, is it right at any time at all for a big ass steering man to ask a woman for money? Corey, talk to us.
Wrong or right? I don't think it's either wrong or right. Let me tell you what happened now. Let me tell
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
what happened now. because sometimes I have to ask for some money in my relationship, you know. You know it go. Because
Yeah.
that is exactly what it is. It is a relationship. But outside of a relationship, if a man is not just going to meet a woman and that is the first thing or that is the basis of under which he's now going to try to solicit funds, that is wrong not only for the man, but that is wrong if the woman, if the roles are reversed, if the woman now approaches the man for with the only the reason of trying to get money, that is also considered wrong. So what I say is it depends on the context and the relationship. Within my relationship, it is balanced. So if I need some assistance, I can always ask my partner for some assistance, and likewise. So in my case, I say it no wrong.
Thanks, Corey. Sir Playgrove, let us hear your perspective on this one.
Yeah, man, I agree with Corey. It is not wrong. It is not wrong for a man to ask his wife or girlfriend for money. It is not wrong because you're in a relationship. And go back to the same part. One hand can't clap, so me alone can't do everything. I cannot be the only person doing anything. What if one day? What if I lose my job? Or what if something came up and I'm not able to meet my expenses for this month? I should be able to say okay to my wife, can you cover this for me? Can you give me money to do this? Can you give me money to do that? You know? And then we all talk about equality and equity in relationships, and that is a form of equality and equity in the relationship, because if just like how the woman is able to ask a man for money, the man should be able to ask the woman for money too. Though men naturally feel some type of way about going to women to ask for money, because oftentimes that makes them feel a bit vulnerable, and men don't like to feel vulnerable. But it is
True.
honestly okay. It is honestly okay for a man to ask his partner for money.
So, gentlemen, here's a question I want to ask. When we're doing counseling, premarital counseling, Courtney can tell you, we're saying is a red flag if you're in a relationship and the man is always out of money. The man is always asking the female to pay bills. The man is always saying, I forget my wallet, or I need this to settle this loan, and so the relationship, the pattern of just asking for money and borrowing money, we say, oh gosh, that's a red flag. You want to run away from a man like that because I'm not owning responsibility, because we're supposed to be the provider. We're supposed to be the one that go there and earn and to take care of our women. Gentlemen, it almost sounds like a leech. It almost sounds like this man had
Yeah.
just planned
True,
to
so
live on the
true.
woman. What's your
True.
take on this, Corey?
I would say don't run him yet. Here what you do. You want to call me and let him sit down with a financial advisor and get his finances in order, right? Because clearly what I'm seeing there is that the man is probably experiencing financial mismanagement. He's probably unable to effectively manage these finances, so he's always running short. So he's bringing in it with a spoon and spending it with a shovel. Remember that from the last time. So, so what he needs to do is probably sit down, not only say with a counselor, we identify the red flag, but now we need to sit down with a financial advisor so that he can now gain the requisite financial literacy skills to ensure that he can better manage his funds and his finances.
Well, I really love your response, Corey. I think you're awesome. All the men listening to you know. But what if it is that he actually doesn't have any finances to manage? Because
Trouble.
you're a big part of the problem. Why he seems to be running
Trouble.
short. You know that. I mean, if you want the work, we'd hear the Kemsa match telling us, if you want the work, you need forget. If you want the work, you need forget our work.
Right.
Sure. That's how God established the thing. So Blair Grove, any comment? I see Lydia Senior Ward saying, I don't see anything wrong with it as long as he's always giving. So she's saying him can always ask as long as he's always giving, as long as it's reciprocated, it would seem. Then,
Yes.
in fine. What's your response, Sir Blair Grove?
I agree with what Corey said a while ago. It is a red flag, right? It is a red flag if you're in the relationship and the man is always asking you to pay for this. The man coming up with excuses saying that okay, he left his wallet and so on. No, Corey spoke about mismanaging funds. That is one factor, right? And then also it goes to where that is the intention of the man. You know, it goes to if that's the intention of the man in the relationship. Is it that the man is going into the relationship to live off that woman? Is if that's his intention, then by all means, right, the lady can go left and him go right. You know, but it goes back to the two factors: if the man is mismanaging his funds, and if his intention in the relationship is to use the woman. Sorry. So that's my opinion on it.
You're listening to the program, The Mailbox, and you're hearing all the discussions that you need to help in understanding your partner in a relationship from the male perspective. There is nothing like this anywhere else apart from the Mailbox, and you can only hear this on Love 101 every Wednesday between the hours of 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. We have with us Sir Corey Fid and Sir Enrico Grove. There's another comment here that says, Man, good evening. What a hell if love was more of money and not true love that would come under heavy pressure if the money run out. If it's true love, then the woman is a backup. Shalom. I'll never say if I understand what Stafford is saying. Good afternoon. Good evening, Stafford. Stafford. Is he saying that if there's true love, then money doesn't matter? And if it comes under pressure, even if money runs out, love still stands the test? And that the woman is just a backup for finances. I don't know, but Stafford, we hear the comment. Kevin, I don't know what you get from what Stafford is saying.
Well, I get a sense that he's really saying that true love should not just be about money, even though money is important. And when you come under pressure, if the relationship is really about true love, then the woman is fine to back up her partner, back up her husband or boyfriend. Yeah. So he's saying yes, he can see where there's no problem at all as long as there's true love and the relationship is characterized by true love. There's a time when a man is down and needs some help, and he's fine with a woman being the backup there. I hope I get it right. Stafford can always clarify.
That sounds correct, Kevin. Listeners, remember you get to participate by leaving your comments via our WhatsApp line at 876-997-3125 or give us a call on our studio line at 876-968-8327 or 876-968-8328. Also remember, the phone lines are open right throughout. Don't be afraid to call the program. We need for you to ask these gentlemen some questions. They are here for you to ask. And we're also live on Facebook and YouTube. Trust me, we're everywhere on all social media. We'll soon come to Instagram. Don't worry yourself. So we want you to recognize the phone lines are open. Please give these gentlemen a call. Well, Kevin, guess what? It's time for the minute segment. What do you say?
Yes, we go straight into the inbox and we know how time flies. So, Corey, a question I want to start off, money management, especially for men. Is this important? Why is it important that a man must learn to manage money and not abuse the money? What is all this big thing about money management and financial literacy? Corey, talk to us.
All right. So while it's important for everybody, based on how our society sets up, is that the male is the backbone of the household, right? So it's even more important that the man is able to handle his finances properly. Now, when we talk about financial literacy, I have a way of explaining it. It's like, in order to build a nice, pretty, fancy house, you have to get a proper architect, you have to get a proper contractor to build that pretty house, right? Now, why is that important? Because he has the tools and the know-how. So it's the same. If you're trying to build that nice future for yourself, you must have the tools and know-how. And that those tools and know-how is what we refer to as financial literacy. Now, if I now know how to do simple things such as budgeting, managing risk, understand the importance of shifting risk with things like insurance, I am better able to set up a proper foundation and build a beautiful future for me and my family. Now, as I say, society dictates that the male is the backbone of the family. Therefore, it's even more important for him to be able to do this with the support of his wife, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you, Court. You know, we want to hear Sir Blair Grove's opinion on the question Kevin asked before I shoot some other questions right at you, so that I guess some of the questions are some of those that I've heard before the program. But go ahead, Sir Blair Grove. Let us hear your perspective on this. What's so vital about money management, financial literacy? What is that? Let's hear from you.
No, being financially literate, is being able to make informed decisions with your financial resources. Now, that is what financial literacy is. Now, so you know your income and you know your expenses. You separate your needs from your want. There's this really good rule of budgeting that I normally tell persons to use, is the 50-30-20 rule. No, 50% of your income goes towards your expenses, your needs. 50% of your income goes towards that. Then the other 30% goes towards wants and all of that. And then the other 20% is for you to save, then invest, or invest. Now, being able to properly do that, being able to go to be disciplined enough to live by a budget, right? You trust me when I say you will be fine, you will be good financially, because you won't get yourself in any debt. Because a recent poll in the United States showed that out of I think it's 120,000 persons, both male and female, in the poll, 33% of the men in the poll, right, they had more debt of over 100,000, right, when compared to women, right, who had who represented 22% of that. Now, if a man is able to better manage his money, then that section, that portion, or that level, that part of the statistics, he won't be in it. He won't be one of the persons who have bad credit, one of the persons who have so many different loans out there. That person who, as the money come, right, they have to go, all right, have to go to paying back the loan, and then living from paycheck to paycheck, hand to mouth, as we call it. So being able to manage your money, to getting yourself financially literate, it goes a very long way, and it also goes towards creating generational wealth for your family. You have kids, you want your kids to have something. So instead of wasting the money on unnecessary things that when you look at your budget is not a part of your budget, or you did not budget for it, then you can put that money towards saving or investing and leaving something for your family, better able to provide for your family. So that is my view on it.
If I were to put, thank you, Sir Enrico. If I were to put what both yourself and Corey have stated, in terms of financial management and financial literacy, and there's a question: the man being the backbone. What if there's no man in that house? What is it? No, but now that we have a fuller understanding of what good financial management is, we want to talk about now a little more the financially abused man, and in that order: financially abused, not the man who abuses his finances, but the financially abused man. How do we recognize a financially abused man? Who is he? I love what Corey said before, the power of the purse. And usually when you hear purse, you hear female. But, apart from in biblical terminologies, the purse was just who had the money bag.
Right.
How then does a man become financially abused, and what does that look like? I want to hear, because there are men out there who are wondering, you know, the question was asked earlier, what if somebody opens a credit card for you with your name on it, but you're not able to use it? Let's say there's the credit card has a limit of 100,000, or better yet, 250,000, and the man is only allowed 40,000 to use because the woman is carrying in much more than he is. Is he being financially abused? Tell us what that looks like. That's what today is about. We want to know, what is a financial abuse, man. Not just about how he abuses his own money or what financial abuse is, but the financially abused man. Corey.
All right, great. So this goes back to what we said, that if his financial standing is being taken advantage of, he's being abused, right? Now, in your example of the, say for example, credit cards, there are many instances out there where men will have their credit cards and their spouse, their wife, will be the ones that are actually doing the spending, because as men will say, listen, honey, I need a new sneaker, just buy that one over there for me. But she has the card. So when you go to pay the bill and you see now that instead of your bill being 50,000, your bill is 300,000, you're wondering, wait, where all this money went? Now you go to the list, you see that as she'll go on, she did her own shopping spree. Now you are responsible for paying this card because this particular card is in your name, which means it impacts your credit report. No, that is one instant. These things are happening. But one of the funny thing about identifying a financially abused man is that it is very difficult, because as men, we often do not speak about our finances. We do not share or even speak with our friends really about what our financial standing is. So a lot of the times, the only persons that know that a man is being financially abused is the person that is abusing him and him. Right? So we can sit on the outside and we
Wow.
can speculate. We can say, well, based on the fact that this woman is not working, but she's driving a very expensive vehicle, she seems well taken care of. It must therefore mean that she is living off this man's resources. Therefore, she must be abusing it. But I wouldn't sit on the outside and make that conclusion and draw that conclusion.
Thank you, Corey. Sir Grove, your viewpoint.
All right. So going back to what I said earlier in the beginning, um, being looking from the outside, there are certain things that you can look for, to help you determine if a man is being financially abused. No, a lot of the times, we as man, as Corey said rightfully, that men don't talk up, men don't talk about their finances that much if they're being abused. Even if they know that they're being abused, they rather keep it to themselves. They rather sit and endure it than go out there and talk to somebody, because our society, I don't believe it creates such a safe place for men to be comfortable to talk about stuff like that, without getting discriminated on, look down, and making comments like, oh, you're not a real man because you're being abused, all of that. So men are
Yeah,
reluctant
the
to do
mean
all of
man
that.
syndrome.
Yes, yes. The mean man syndrome. And so some of the things that can indicate or show you if a man is being financially abused. For example, if a woman, right, if the woman is keeping the family financially burdened because of unnecessary spending, you going back to the budget, you have a budget, you have a monthly budget that you know your income and the expenses for the household, for the family, for the month, right? And then every month you are controlling the finances. The man go out and work, and you're controlling the finances. You're spending, you're buying stuff for the house, right? And then you're making unnecessary spending. You're going over the budget. You're buying stuff that's not included in the budget. That is a form of financial abuse. Also, if both parties are working, right, the man and the woman working, but only one party, only the man, is covering all of the expenses in the relationship. That is financial abuse. If the woman is refusing to contribute financially to the family, that is a form of financial abuse, and a lot of persons don't see it as that. A lot of persons, society dictates that, okay, the man's money is his money and the wife's money, and the wife's money is just the wife's money. You know, that
So
is
you are
that
you
is
are
that
you
is
are saying, Sir Blair Grove, that the terminology of your money is my money and my money is my money by a woman is financial abuse. Is
yes,
a financial abuse
100%.
statement.
yes. It comes under financial abuse. It comes under financial abuse, and a lot of persons don't see it as that. A lot of persons just see it as, okay, the man is the breadwinner, so he provides, and that's his role. So whatever the woman wants to do with her money, right? It is fine. It is okay. And then men are the ones who accept it. Men are the ones who say, okay, she's making her money. I don't care what she's doing with her money, but I know that my role is to take care of the family. So I am going to take care of the family. I am going to spend. I am going to use my money. Because at the end of the day, I am the breadwinner. You know, so in situations like that, it comes under financial abuse. And then, another thing too that is financial abuse, and a lot of persons don't see it as that, is if um the woman is pressuring the man to go out and make more money, right? Make more money, pressuring the man to make more money. The man is in his job and he is carrying home a certain amount of income, right? And his income determines his standard of living. His income, if he's the sole breadwinner in the family, his income determines the standard of living for the family, right? And then now, being able to live within your means and say, okay, you have your budget and you're working within your budget, that is good, that is okay, because the funds can cover all of that. But then now, when they want to deviate from that, when, for example, the woman wants to deviate from that, the woman wants to increase the budget, wants to spend more on stuff that the budget cannot accommodate, and then the woman
She
is going
wants
to
a
tell
trip to
them,
Europe and there's
yes,
nothing in the
yes,
budget for that.
and the woman is going to tell the man that you need to go out there and make more money. You need to increase your income. You need to increase your income. You need to go out there and go make some more money so I can do more of what I want to do. Relationship is all about equality and equity, right? As I said before, one hand cannot clap. We both have to do this, right? Both the man and the woman have to do this, right? So by telling the
So,
man
Well,
that, okay, him need to go out there, go ahead.
I was about to say, to add
gentlemen,
something to that.
that that yes, Corey.
I was going to say, to add something to that. It's also abuse if once the man's financial position changes. For example, if he loses his job, if his earnings dip, now he's being treated differently. Now he's being treated less than a man within the household because he does not carry the
Yes,
same amount of funds that he would usually carry in. Then you start seeing abuse, verbal abuse towards the man. All of that is financial abuse as well, because when he was earning well, everybody was happy. And now we often say the wife, but this also extends to the household, other persons in the household as well, and even other family members often look at males as a purse. They look at us as a wallet. So once they need something, go to the man. If you, we can do a survey here right now. If we, each individual here, if we went out with, say, a group of females, one male with a group of females, everybody had drinks. When the person is coming back with the bill, that person is walking directly to the man and giving it to him. So you are paying. That's just the standard. That is the standard.
So, thank you, Corey. So the question I want to ask, one, suppose the man enjoys being abused because he's getting other stuff in return for the abuse. He doesn't see it. You might call it his blind spot, but he's totally okay because he is getting other stuff. There are men who enter relationship and they have money and they are exchanging it for the shape of the woman. Beauty for money. or young girl for money or things like that. So in their head, they are fine providing the finances. So when you might say they are being abused, but they don't see themselves as being abused. What happened there, Corey?
Funny is a matter of perspective, because you're perfectly right. If you have an abundance of one particular resource, in this case, money, and you can exchange that resource for anything, you don't feel as if you are being abused. But in terms of perspective, but the person that is now receiving the funds from you, at some points that might start feeling abused because they might think you are abusing your power of having money. So abuse a lot of the times is a matter of perspective. So you're right. If I have a lot of that resource, I don't feel like I'm being abused. I feel like I'm sharing a resource for another one. It's an exchange.
Mm, thank you. Blake Grove, you have a perspective on that?
Yeah, man. As Corey said, it all depends on the perspective. If the man is willing to acknowledges or knows that he's being financially abused, right, and he is accepting it because of the other benefits that may come with it, then that is what it is. That's what he's in. That's it, right? But it's still financial abuse, right? Even though he's accepting it, even though he is living with it, that does not negate the fact that it is not financial abuse. It is financial abuse. So that is my perspective on it.
What are some of the syndromes that we can associate with this whole thing? I heard one person talking about a mean man syndrome. As Kevin asked a question in regards to the man not feeling as if he's abused, we have seen the converse where some woman would say, boy, if him don't love me, if him don't beat me. Is it that some of our men are thinking that if they don't spend the money and if they don't come and do and feel good that their man can give money, even if it leaves him in a position of financial disability, that he's not being abused? Could that be a part of it? Because there is something that
Wow.
you have to show.
There's a lot to unpack there, because in order to really explore that, we have to go into what our history and our culture is. And a
Yes.
part of that is that we are sometimes cultured to know that you must be spending. It is who have the, as you say, who have the purse, who is spending more becomes the alpha male. This is known. That's why our culture is, we're so, let's say, we hype, we're bold, we're braggadocious
Yeah,
because of that. And
yeah.
somebody once said that as a culture, we tend to wear our wealth. So a man will, just like the peacock with all of these pretty feathers, will put on all of these nice clothes, all of this jewelry to show off wealth and spending power, right? So culturally, we are taught like that, right? So sometimes men enter into relationships and they feel like, if I am not able to spend, if I am not able to show that I can support her financially, I am less of a man, or somebody else will come in and break my foot. So, right. So
Mm,
that in itself is as if we have created our own culture of financial abuse and financial pressure on the man
mm,
to then spend. Because again, if you go now and you decide that, listen, I do not have the means to spend this much, you're considered mean. You're considered, you don't want to spend on woman, you're mean. So in order to
yeah.
avoid a lot of that, and in order to kind of survive in this culture, a lot of men tend to, spend even when they don't have it.
And would that fit into the sugar daddy syndrome? Um, is that definitely an abuse? Because it's something like we almost accept it, we sing about it, we talk about it. It's almost like a culture. Gentlemen, are you a sugar daddy? Or is it okay for you to be a sugar daddy? Or is that outrightly abuse?
I don't have enough gray area to be considered a sugar daddy.
No, but that's the thing about it, right? Sugar
Yeah.
daddies aren't necessarily
Old.
older men. Sugar daddies are men who can afford it. Sugar daddies are men who are single, sometimes not even single, but let's not get into that. But men who can afford it, men who can afford to to provide or spend the way the woman wants him to spend.
I
So
see
is that abuse,
Lady
Blagrove?
Senior Ward again commenting, saying if the only thing a man is needed for is his money, then that's a sugar daddy thing. So again, I want to agree with you. It is not dependent on age. It's dependent on whether or not he can supply the demands that are being made
Yes.
in terms of finances. How
And
can
then
we correct
why
this culture? Because that culture in itself is something that definitely seems to be ingrained in a lot of our men. And not only that, it affects both the women and the men into thinking that it is fine, it is okay. Yet, if a woman is the one who earns more, and she would say to you, say, you are not able to spend that, and she has put together the budget and shows you exactly that, no, Kevin, you're not able to get that new pair of glasses. No, you know, that it is understandable and not seen as abuse based on the budget. How can we correct the culture of whether or not things are just expediency, things that are necessary, the same sort of figures that Sir Blair gave us, the 50-30-20 principle. You know, what are priorities, what are needs, what are just wants, and then what are necessary for investment to ensure. How can we help in this culture scenario that we are facing? It's really a dilemma. How can we correct it?
Wow. Wow. It is going to be very difficult to correct, and here's why. In a sense, we have also created a sense of expectancy within the women, where women also expect us to spend at a certain level, to provide for them at a certain level, regardless of whether or not they are giving any benefit to you or the household. And with Instagram culture, the sugar daddy culture is getting even more popular because women, are exploiting these males to the benefit of being able to travel, have um, gain access to expensive jewelry, expensive assets. So this is being it's very difficult to change. But what the man must know and what the man must do, and within relationships as well, they must have the discussion and they must set the rules as to listen. This is what we are doing as a partnership. And I keep using the word partner and partnership because that's exactly what it is. If you're in a relationship, you must set the rules, you must set the terms, and it must be a partnership that you are both working towards similar goals. And if that is the case, it does not matter if you are the majority shareholder or not, because you're both working towards the same goals. Do you understand where I'm saying? I see you laughing. That's what it is. Because once this communication takes place, that's where things kind of get better. And it boils back to the sugar daddy culture as well. If a man accepts that, and this is how they're going to start the relationship, to say, listen, I will provide you with I will provide your financial needs. I just need you to do this in return. That is an arrangement, that is an agreement, and the terms are clear. So in that case, that's not abuse, but it's one person using the resources they have to exploit the other.
So gentlemen, on the wire, what is the man to do? He recognizes he's been abused financially. What is the advice you are giving to him? Ray Ray says, younger man a boops, older man a sugar daddy. Ray Ray said that. But gentlemen, can you share with us? He recognizes all the signs and symptoms of being financially abused. What is the man to do? What is the married man to do? What is the single man to do? Give us some pointers. Enrica, you want to as we wrap up? Yeah.
All right, so um firstly, I I would say for the man to educate himself, be more financially literate, right? Know that okay, these are patterns of financial abuse. This is what's happening to me. My wife is overspending. My wife is spending unnecessarily, right? My wife is not contributing. Now it is on the onus is on the man now to set boundaries. All right, listen, all right, this is our income, right? And we have to stay within our budget because we cannot afford to go exceed our budget, right? So we have to educate ourselves. We have to educate our fellow men, and also how our kids, how they are socialized. You know, that has a big role to play in this situation now. How we socialize our youth. Also, you know, going back to controlling your finances and
30 seconds. We need to also get in court. 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah.
all right, no problem. And for men who are unemployed, in you know, in an effort to not become a victim of financial abuse, get a job and get your own finances. Be able to provide for yourself, or even add to what the wife or the woman is bringing to the table. You know, equality and equity at the end of the day. If you see that, okay, the woman is the sole breadwinner and you feel like she's dictating terms and you don't want to feel victimized again, go out and get a job. Be able to provide for yourself. Be able to meet her halfway. So that is me.
Corey, few
Well,
seconds.
yeah, man. For me, just get help. Speak to a counselor. Speak to a financial advisor. If you can seek to counseling to how you can help build your relationship or better your relationship, speak to a financial advisor of how you can better manage your money. If you can get those two things in, I believe that will help a lot of meals and save a lot of relationships.
Hey, thank you very much, Corey Fred and Sir Enrico Blagrove. Thanks to our producer, Tony K. Bromfield, Anthony Son Williams for technical support. Our special guests, there you have them, financial advisor, literacy advisor, and speaker, both Corey Fred and Enrico Blagrove. For information on how to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-9597 or download the podcast via our mobile app.
Listen again next week for another mailbox. Yes, the program designed for men with guests who are men, hosted by men. I'm Kevin Bailey.
And I'm Courtney Morrison. Next week, Monday.
Monday.
I am a man, I am a man, I am a man, yes. Strong man.